Good afternoon, people. Cole here. So today we're going to go over a Warrior 101 class. Um, so we're not going to go into super details on everything a warrior can do or what strategies to do on XYZ. We're going to go over just a brief idea, summary, and kind of what you would need to be a warrior in Amtgard. So, one, what is the warrior's main goal in Amtgard? So the warrior is set up usually, let me say usually, as a tank for your team. So, Warrior is the main class in the game that can wear the most armor, that can use tower shields, excluding Paladin, um, and use most equipment. Um, Warrior, in my opinion, is always a great class to start off anybody getting into Amtgard into. Um, the rule set for them, what they can and can't do, is not very complicated, and is a very versatile class within a certain way that you play it. The main thing I always tell people if they want to try out Warrior is one, have your protection equipment. Because Warrior is usually a frontline fighter, because usually they have the most armor, is one, you always want to have your protecting gear. Usually when I'm playing a Warrior, I have my nifty mouth guard. This locks in, and I'm still able to talk. So in this game, very important just to be able to talk because warriors can still cast certain things, and you still got to be able to say dead, whatever whatever is affecting you. So protection gear, I feel that warrior and barbarian out of any other class you need to have your protection gear. I prefer mouth guard, your gloves, protect your knuckle, protect your hands. If you start busting up your hands in this game, you're not going to last in it very long. What I prefer MMA style. A lot of people prefer the full hockey gloves. Whatever your style is. But protective gear. I also say, while playing Warrior, wear a cup. Because, say if you're playing Wizard or a lot of these spellcasting classes, you're not going to have that much armor if you have it at all. Or magic armor, whatever, if you have it at all. So 1-2 hits, you're dead. Warrior, usually if you're wearing armor, you're getting hit from all sides, and also being on the front line, you're going to be at the brunt of poles, poles, people accidentally shield bashing, or mainly people just swinging swords in the wrong direction. Happens all the time. So I always say mouth guard, hand protection, cup. I also wear knee pads, but that's other knee issues in the game. I always say wear knee pads because you're going to take a lot of knees in this game, and the less you mess up your knees, the longer you can keep playing. So protection gear, I always find that to be very important. Warrior, in my opinion, is the best level 1 class in the game. Why do I say that? Because it is the only class at level 1 you can walk out on the field with 7 points of armor. 7 points of armor if you have your helmet, heavy helm. Walk out 7 points of armor at level 1 and still be able to actually get pieces of that armor back if you get a kill, scavenge. So it's a great class, but in my opinion, Warrior is one of the most physically heavy classes in the game, and one of the most, I want to say, costly for gear because bows can, for archery, bows can get pretty expensive. But a full kit of armor head to toe can cost you some. I'm not saying your first year in the game, go out and get yourself some plate armor and a heavy helm, and I'm not saying you need to get all that. Heck, I have a heavy helm for SCA, and I have 2-point leather, and I don't even have leg protection. But So bringing it back to gear, uh, I say it's one of the most costly ones because um, you can walk out in the field with medium shield, large shield, small shield, couple of swords, flail, pole. You can walk out with a lot of stuff. So that's going to run me into your roles as a warrior. Um, a lot of people don't think of warriors having a role, but the warrior class can be played in several different ways. So you can walk out on the field 6 points of armor and just pull. You can stay in the back and just keep, hardened weapon and keep stabbing all day. That still relies on, you having shield wall, people protecting you, stuff like that. Because, of course, someone runs in on you, still issue. So that's one type of role you could play as a warrior. Most people you see go out there playing as a warrior, they just have a couple points of armor, medium shield, medium sword, and they're fine with that. That's what most people play. That is sort of, you could say, sort of a tanky type of role. You see a lot of warriors come out with a bunch of armor, medium shield, and they just fight out there. That's great. If you play the role there, don't stand in the back line, stuff like that. Your role should be in the front line if you're going to be that type of warrior. There's also flanking type of warriors. Warriors go out there with Florentine, 6 points of armor, and their goal is, hey, I could take a couple of shots here as I'm running through your flank. There's a lot of different roles you can play as a warrior, but the main thing to think about as a warrior is what are you vulnerable to? So, yes, you have 6 points of armor, but you're still vulnerable to a lot of magic. Granted, level 6, ancestral armor, blah, blah, blah. Still, there's still things that can mess you up, even at level 6 as a warrior. So, keep that in mind while playing that role. And as a warrior, keep in mind that your main thing is you hitting someone with some sort of weapon. So, that's another reason why I say warrior is one of the harder classes. Because granted, I'm not saying spellcasting is not hard, but I can sit here and say, hey, do this spell, point at this person, keep them out there all day. As a warrior, I still have to learn how to hit and actually hit my shots, get actual hits in. Because there's not really anything else a warrior can rely on other than their sword ability. I'm not going to be able to go out there and stun somebody and kill them or call lightning or anything like that. It's going to be done with a sword. Or pole or flail, whatever you have, your weapon. So, like I said, just a one-on-one class. I'm not going to go into details of what does ancestral armor do, when should you shake it off, how often should you true grit, and I'm not going to get into all that. But, like I said, just to recap it, warrior, bring your gear. I recommend going onto the field with as much gear as you feel comfortable with carrying. So I usually keep sword in hand, sword on the hip, make flail on this hip if I can, tower shield, medium shield, maybe a sword behind that, or I have a pole in this hand, medium shield or tower shield, sword behind that, sword on the hip, flail. Why take so many things? Because so many things can destroy your weapons. You don't want to walk out there as a warrior with just one sword, one shield, and a fireball hits your shield, and now you're just fighting single short. Or our fourth bolt, level 1 spell ball, hits your weapon, now what are you going to do? So always think about bringing out more equipment than you may think you actually need. So, like I said, not going to go into super detail. Main things to think about is that bring your equipment. Bring your safety equipment, bring your weapons, and like I said, it's a very physical class. Don't wear yourself out if it's a longer battle, if you have a kingdom event for a whole weekend, and don't wear yourself out on the first thing. Think about energy management. If you're wearing 6 points of armor and it's 100 degrees outside, maybe you shouldn't run if you don't have the cardio for that. Maybe you think about just playing a tank role where you're just right in the front line. A lot of things to consider. So later on, I'm probably gonna do a 102, 103 class on this. I love Warrior, and I highly recommend playing it.